Get out,
that's weird. The airbag didn't go off.
I miss my old car. You know, the vroom vroom and the clank clank and the...
Okay. What is really the amazing part to me is that they are monsters and they get so afraid of a simple car, right? It is full of many, many details which definitely reflect what is our daily experience with new products. And therefore I would like to go through it, especially a little bit for engineers. Don't exaggerate when you put accessories in your things, okay? Keep it simple, that's the best. So, in the very beginning, Sally asked, what is wrong with your old car? Mike says, 3 little words, 6-wheel drive. I mean, in what street, in which city you need a 6-wheel drive? I think there are some military things having this kind of option, but definitely you don't need it. It's simply too much, but Mike wants to show up, yeah, to be different. So this new product, what appeals to people is it is too much, it's exaggerated. It has a lot of additional functions which somehow make what I have different to what you have. Okay? And this is one of the very big challenges of designers, somehow to at least give the illusion or fulfill this requirement by still keeping the product as simple as possible that the user will be able to use it. Otherwise, he will be frustrated, like what happened here. Sally does not feel comfortable. That means that still we need the human dimension. We need to be able to adjust the seat. We need to be able to simply fulfill the very, very basic things which are, let's say, the relation, the first interaction between machine and man, which is anthropometry. This is the human measurement. Then we have this kind of very often happening, especially when products become always more complicated, and a very, very simple example for it are airplanes. Yeah, they have a lot of automatism because the machine itself is too big to be controlled easily by a man. Okay? Or at least automatism supports then the human being in order to, let's say, control and work with the very complicated machine. But unknown automatism, which makes strange sounds, makes strange reactions, which are far away from our daily experience as semantics, for example, things which give a direct and clear information might create even more difficulties than actually not existing automatism. So also here the balance between how much I need to put in and how much not, that is definitely also a big criteria. Then it simply, things can happen. And how many times we are sitting in front of the computer not knowing what is the computer is doing. Yeah? If you don't have a feedback, if you don't have actually the right information, you get frustrated. And also here in this case, already by getting emotionally in a situation that evidently Mike is not anymore happy to present the car because many things start to happen which definitely are not going in the direction. Frustration shows up, and then of course unpredictable situations lead to an emotive reaction, which of course then make the interaction with machines very, very critical. Interface design, I mean, you will have probably to do with a lot of buttons and so on. I find it lovely, something like this. You will find out that professional tools normally have much less buttons because they need to work exactly for 3 things and not more. When it comes to products for private customers, it seems that the more buttons they have, the better the product is. Although 50% of the buttons probably is completely useless, or you will use them only once, or because you show it to a friend and say, I have it, does it. Then you will never use it. Yeah? It comes into the fact that in the end a cell phone today can do everything. There was a statistic of how many other tools actually a cell phone today eliminated. Flashlight, I can go on the staircase and have my light. Internet, notebook, I don't know. I think there are something like 60 different tools out already included in the cell phone. For me already it's a problem now to phone. Because that might be then a problem, because while before it was so simple, it had the buttons, I felt the buttons, and I could even send an SMS while walking in the street or even by driving. I should not do that, but you don't need to look at it because you feel it. Now with a smartphone, even when I push my trolley in the supermarket, I need to stop because I'm not able to send a simple SMS. I need to hold it with 2 fingers and I need to push, and still I get 3, 4 buttons at the same time. So that's also something need to be in a balance. Blueberry probably solves it somehow by having very big scheme for internet surfing and buttons, however, like the old Nokia. I just want to put attention on these things. Of course, I also have now a smartphone. I have even a funny smartphone. I have a camera, a digital camera with a phone, which is then definitely the next generation of madness. On the other side, it's very, very comfortable. So it is true, you need to find niches for people that have certain needs, and for me running around with the cell phone, which is actually a digital camera, is very comfortable. Because now I can really click, 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 and nobody sees it. And actually, the most funny experience was that when I went to the Coptic Museum, it's completely forbidden to bring in digital cameras. Do you have a digital camera? No. What's my phone? If you see it, it's a complete digital camera. But I simply didn't recognize it. So, I mean, it's good to continue to work in niches and so on, but again, balance what is definitely a need and what is simply too much. So we have the use of usability and cognitive ergonomics, which gives the right feedback, especially then in extreme situations like what was happening here. Mike tries to close. Still, we need dimensions which refer to the people who are using actually the machines. And again, knowledge-based errors, because a machine is too complicated, will always be a bigger problem. We do not know exactly how to react when something is happening. And this is one of the big problems of technology of tomorrow and perhaps already of today. What is the result? The car is out of control. Although it should be a simple car. And until now, I always went into a car just driving, never reading the 300 pages of instructions. Somebody of you ever read instructions of your own car? No. You learn to drive, and this is the way I need to drive. That's it. Yeah. I heard that the S-Class Mercedes has instructions of 600 pages. Good luck. We'll never read that. Yeah? Yeah. But it has already automatism. I heard it has voice command. What if you have kind of breathing problem, make a sound and the car react on that? And you didn't want it. I mean, automatisms are definitely something very, very dangerous. The situation in the end is that for our film, Mike is angry and does a reaction which is completely wrong. He somehow lead the car into total destruction, and in the end, we can conclude it is the completely errored use of technology. Should have been, let's say, more fun. It should have been better performance and everything. But in the end, the whole machine went out of control and definitely was in success. So what we need somehow to include, but how? That is a big challenge, because, as I said, nobody reads the instructions of your own car. We need to include the awareness that for new technology, we need also more time to approach it, to learn about it. We just don't do it. Yeah? And when I switched from one phone to the other, I never read anything related, because I do 3 functions, phoning especially, and SMS. When I bought my SMS, I was forced to read the instructions, because I would have not been able even to phone. Yeah? That is what somehow you need also to include in your project, this self-explaining approach, that people who are not, sorry for that, fanatic about technology, they just like it, they want to show up. You need to give them, however, enough comfort to work with it and to use it without making a PhD in instruction technology, okay? They just start to use it. I think I'm running out of time, but this is, let's say, one of the very, very important things I wanted to talk about, because that might then open a lot of other issues. So what is interesting for us, we can resume that, is customer normally asks for more as they need. That is their somehow nature. Okay? Next is that for us, then, when we define a product, we need also to understand what is the cultural background of these people. What do they know already? Many things I already can take for granted, and new generations who is born after 2000 and perhaps also 1990 already is called digital native. That means he definitely uses the computer every day. The older generations, they just learned it on the way and have a different kind of approach. But this is also something you can define when you define your target group. As long as technology today can fit probably also in a small cup of finger, a whole computer, it's you now to decide how big a thing to be. How big is a hand to hold it, how big is a touchscreen in order to press a button. Yeah? It is up to you to know what are the anthropometical dimensions of human beings in order to make the right design. The physical interaction has to be related to human capacity and size. This also, of course, to do with psychological interaction, because then we have expectations, we have somehow performance pressure, and automatism help in that case, but as we saw, can also make big problems. So it needs to be to find the right balance, and interface need to be, and there actually is the history of ergonomics starting, to be able that in any circumstances a person is able to control still the machine, especially when it comes to panic situations, when it comes to extreme under psychological pressure, and not only because we are happy and driving on a Friday morning, nobody's on the street, then we are able to interact with everything. Yeah? But also in stress situations, a machine needs to be proved to hold what you are doing with it. Okay? And this is a simple example is when you are clicking on your computer and the computer would not say, do you want to save the file? If this does not there, then simply you lose what you have done. Okay? These are the controls, little bit, which help so much somehow to guarantee the right interaction with the future technology. And, of course, self-explaining. This is what Donald Norman says, he's one of the very famous psychologists working in the design field. The best product will be the one who does not need any instructions. You just use it and you do it in the right way. because somehow it explains, and step by step you learn it. That means also that your imagination as a user is very similar to the imagination of the software, of the program, of the machine, of the designer. They are on the same level. There is no surprise. It is somehow aligned. So, putting this together and organize it, I have on the one side customer needs, physical ergonomics, cognitive ergonomics. Physical means it has to do with the body, cognitive means it has to do with psychology, and then we can use the last word, which is usability, easy to use. This is the meaning of this word. If I reorganize then these slides by putting them together in a different way, where I put usability in the center of my project, then I can relate them. Physical ergonomics, of course, has to do with easy use, cognitive the same, and it will be usable if the customer is happy with it and fulfills somehow the expectations. Okay? This whole field then is called ergonomics. Okay? We have this relation and this multidisciplinary approach with different disciplines and areas. I have no idea how long I already talked. Somebody can tell me? Pretty long? Then I stop because, okay, good. Have we just time, 5 minutes to introduce Hannah, or is it 3 minutes? Okay. I wanted to bring also an experience, let's say, a living experience, how product design and information technology somehow can work together. And Hannah, she's a graduating student from GOC, has something to tell you.
Okay, hello everybody, my name is Hannah. I won't be long, I'm just here to give you a quick motivation for this event. I'm going to be graduating next month, inshallah, from the German University in Cairo. I'm a product designer. So I was one of the lucky ones to be participating in the last Maker Hackathon took place in February, here in Deep Center. Yeah. So basically, I was working with a group of engineers. They had the idea of making tracking devices. So I just filled in as the product mentor, and we worked all together to bring out the final outcome. So the product name was called Aina Ashyai. Of course, you know this from the famous movie. So also referring to what Andreas was just talking about, we had to make the name somehow related to the product. So we thought about making the product itself looking like a ninja. And this was our product. So quickly, the product, you just attach it to many devices that you want to keep together, and you don't want to go out without missing any of them. So there were different attaching bodies. So this was the first concept. It had 3 different devices. So the further development that we did was to have the same device, but with a changing back to be more. To be more accessible for many options. So these were the three different bodies: the keychain, and the wristband, and the clipper, and the magnetic strip. So what I want to talk to you about here today, as a motivation for me, I was just coming to participate in such an event. I didn't know anything about it, just a product designer coming between engineers and stuff like that. I had no idea what was I going to do. But then, as I kept working and on my models, I was exposed to many of the sponsors and many CEOs and many people who were coming to serve the event. So, alhamdulillah, I got so lucky, and now I'm working in Otina. 1 second. Here. I'm working in Otina company. It's basically like an online market for electronic devices. They sponsor Samsung, Dell, Sony, many devices. Cameras, laptops, flash memories, phones, mobile, portable batteries, everything. and we are the mother distributor of the product Altia, if you know about it. So, and yeah, that's it. I met the CEO. He was one of the business mentors in the event. So he liked my work, and I've done an interview, and we discussed everything. And now I'm officially the product designer working in Otina company. So this is basically the summing up of what I'm saying here. That this event is really a good opportunity. It exposes you to many fields, working fields in the future that you don't know about. And that's it. Good luck to all of you.
Thank you, Professor Andreas. Your presentation was very informative. Hannah, thank you so much for sharing your story. أعتقد إن هانا بتدي مثال يعني حي كده على إنه الإيفنت ممكن يعني you can tell بالظبط إيه الجوائز، مش الجوائز اللي تاخدوها في الآخر لأنك فكرتك نجحت أو حاجة، لا الجوائز ممكن تكون networking exposure. ده اكتر بكتير. ثانك يو سو ماتش هانا فور بينج هير. يعني بجد انا مبسوطه قوي ان هانا يعني حكيت لكم، لان انتوا في بدايه الهاكاثون قدامكم كذا opportunity and again هي it's your journey, make the best out of it. طيب برضه speaking of the UI UX product and material design, I would like to invite نصر علي, UX specialist at Signatel. نصر.
Thank you.
Okay, hello, how's everybody? Good. I'd like to thank Professor Andrea. Your presentation was really good. Okay, I enjoyed it personally. Okay, that video was an overview of material design. Material design, what is it? Material design, we develop, this is the agenda for the presentation. There will be an introduction. We talk about the goals and principles in material design. What is it? What's the guidelines? And why you should material design your app. Okay. What are the goals? What are the goals for material design? Material design came with two main goals. The first one is to make a metaphor that everyone understands. Okay, like Professor was talking a while ago, it's really important to be connected to the user, to get a metaphor that everyone understands. Okay, it is better that way than saying, okay, you're not following the section 3 guideline of our designs. Okay, so the metaphor here was paper and ink. Okay, paper and ink form material design. The material itself is basically a sheet of paper, and you build your design upon it. Okay. The second goal is to bring a unified experience on all your devices, on all your screen sizes, web and mobile and maybe TVs. The principle, as we said, it's basically paper and ink. So we have the first drawing here. It shows that material design is basically layers. you stack up your design and sheet of paper. You build up your buttons, you build up your items upon it. Second drawing represents the bold and graphic that's in the design. The bold colors, the bold graphics, the informative. You see the plus sign here, and you will know for sure it means you will make something new, or you will create something new. Okay. And the last one, the last drawing, talks about motion. What we talk about in material design, what we think of, is that motion has to come with a meaning, has to come with purpose. So what is material design? In the environment, material design is based on a 3D world. Okay, you have your screen. Okay, it forms a very starting layer. Okay, and you have the Z-axis where you build up on, or you stack your actual buttons and lists. This is a little technical. When you design your app, you don't put any shadows randomly or like that. You make your app, your buttons with 1 dB thickness. A dB is a density independent pixel. Light and shadows. There are 2 types of light and shadows in material design. The first one talks about the original light. Second one is the ambient light. What we have in material design is a combination of both. That's the light that overviews your app. Elevation. Here we see some examples of the bars, the buttons, floating buttons, and we see that every layer is elevated at some level. That generates the difference in the shadows and gives the effect of material design. Functional shadows. When we look here at the first drawing, we see a button with a screen. It's supposed to be a floating button, but the absence of the shadow here gives you the feeling that there is no elevation, that they are all on the same level. In the second drawing, it gives you the effect that both the head and the head bar and the bottom are on the same elevated level. Okay, what we want the first is a third drawing where we can see clearly that there are different elevation levels on both materials. Object relationships. You see that the button here is within a view, a certain view, and should move with the view. It should respect the physical boundaries of that view. It doesn't just stand there. Responsive interactions. In the first drawing, we see how it's very important to get the user to know for a fact that his action has actually done something to the application. That's why this ripple effect is very important here, to let the user know, confirm to the user, your action is really selected this item. In the second drawing, we see how elevating a bottom or a material can give the sense of different states. In the third drawing, we see how your interaction, the animation came from the source of the interaction. Those squares you see supposed to be images Okay, they all started from the place you interacted with your phone. Your finger made that interaction, and that the ripple effect of them spreading from the contact point. Visual continuity talks about how you have single you have different type of material items. Some of them are new items that generate when an action happens. Okay, some of them stay together and they all flow in a continuous way. We want to keep the user focused on what matters, the task he's doing, to keep it in some context. Hierarchical timing. We see different examples here. Okay, the first one is what you should do. It keeps you direct the user attention to your point, the point you want to be looking at. Instead of the second example, where animation all happen at the same time, and the user gets confused where he's supposed to be looking at. Those are some delightful details. Icons don't have to be static. Icons can be dynamic like that. It could change within the context. You see the play and pause button change upon the task the user should be doing within the context he's using the application. Okay, the plus one, if someone is using Google Plus, he knows this. The plus button indicates how many pluses, it's like a like on Facebook, how many pluses this link or this thing item has got. Color palette. Google wanted with this material design to make it very easy for designers and developers along. So they created a color palette. You can see the full thing on the website, google.com/design. What Google recommends you to do when you choose colors for your app, your material design app, is to choose a basic color.